It's Do Time with Pastor Steph.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Rise and shine. You are on with It's Do Time with Pastor Steph. How are you this morning? Yes, you're looking at your girl, Shantice. I get to be with you guys this morning. Pastor Steph has to take care of a few things today, and the Lord has put it on her heart to entrust me with getting all of our mornings started. Were you guys on yesterday morning? Unfortunately, I was not on yesterday morning because God had me on another assignment, but I was able to peek my head in some, now since May 11th, 2020, I don't know what it is that has, I don't remember not being able to be on when we were airing, but there's no such thing as me not being on. Even if I can't be in front of the camera with all of you, I have to make sure that I'm at least tuning in, So yesterday morning, as I was getting myself together and getting ready to leave the house, and even after I left the house, I was able to climb in, and I wasn't too sure as to what the content was. I know Vivian had her socially conscious segment yesterday morning for Wow Wednesday, and that is always such a thought-provoking, informative, segment that she gives. And I wasn't too sure as to what the content was that Pastor Steph and Lady Tamika was speaking on yesterday morning. I tuned in, they were going in. Conversation was the way they were able to feed off of each other. And I know it has something to do with Trump, of course. What doesn't have to do with Trump? But I got to go back and watch. So if you missed, you have to go back and watch, because just the intensity in even the body language and everything was just like, wow, we're talking about something. So, again, our Wow Wednesdays here on the Do Time with Pastor Steph are always amazing, starting with Vivian, socially conscious. So we have to make sure that we are tuning in every single morning. And I was out yesterday and ended up having a few conversations with a few people, and something that Pastor Steph brought up and spoke on Monday came up in mid-conversation yesterday. And I said, see, this is why any and everywhere I go, I tell people about It's Do Time with Pastor Steph, because God has us talking about everything. And I was able to refer right back to that conversation that took place right here on this platform this past Monday. So giving God thanks that we are also remembering what he's given us, okay? So make sure that you go and text a friend, DM a friend, call a friend. If you know they're not a morning person, let them know it's time to get up. Time to get up and get your day started. Get your day jump started off right in the Lord, along with the Do Time crew, along with Shanti's this morning. Make sure you grab your healthy breakfast. If you got coffee or tea, make sure you eat a little something before you drink that. Remember, Pastor Steph's health tips. Do not drink coffee or tea on an empty stomach. It will tear your stomach up. I was fine up until Pastor Steph gave that switch tip. Now I cannot do it. So we're going to make sure that we are abiding in the advice that God is making sure he gives us. Okay? So go grab your healthy breakfast. Go make sure you share this link, this YouTube link, this Facebook Live link with someone. Let them know that we are on, and do not go anywhere, because we will be right back.
Finding God's will for your life, or living in God's will for your life, looks like being obedient for the next 20 minutes at a time. Here's what she meant. And she went on to describe. Often we say, Lord, show me the next 20 years. And he's like, if I can just get you to be obedient for the next 20 minutes,
Right.
you'll be exactly where you need to be.
Yeah. Wow. Sheesh.
So what are the restrictions? What are the limitations? What are the freedoms? What are the gifts he's asking you to exercise? What are the people he's asking you to build relationship with that he wants you to be mentored by? What are the mundane tasks that are a part of your day? You got to study. You got to write the paper. You got to do the dishes. You got to change the diaper. You got to be kind to this person that you don't want to be kind to. If we'll be obedient in 20-minute increments, we'll get to 20 years down the road and look back and go, oh my gosh. That was God's will the whole time. Each bit was forming me, pruning me, refining me, teaching me, preparing me for what I didn't even know was coming next.
Guys, that truly is powerful. Being obedient for the next 20 minutes at a time, over and over and over again. I pray you got a word out of that.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, and we are back. We are back. Did you check out that PSA? We are always trying to look down the line, down the line, down the line. But can we handle the right now? Can we handle what God is telling us to do right now? If we focus on the right now, and I was just telling someone yesterday that God gave me an assignment, one of the assignments He gave me, and because I'm putting too much into it and looking, I didn't even realize it's also because I'm looking into the future that I haven't been hitting it. I've been missing the mark. So if we pay attention, as we stated, to the right now, before you know it, it'll be days, weeks, months, years pass by, and we're like, wow, I actually did the thing. I actually did what God had me to do. So shout out to, I forgot her last name, Priscilla Shire for that amazing reminder. And for those who maybe didn't know, amazing tip, okay? But let's start off with saying good morning to our viewers. Good morning, Terrence. How are you? Thank you for being the first one on. Amen. Amen. We have a check-in from Teddy. Good morning. Good morning. We have a check-in from our guy, Serge. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How are you? We have a check-in from our girl, Lily. Hey, good morning, Lily. Thank you for being on with us. We have a check-in from the JP Gaming. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for coming across our page and joining us. We hope that you enjoy the conversations that we are going to be having this morning, God willing. Okay, so y'all know what time it is. It is time for our health tips. It's Therapeutic Thursday, y'all. So today we're speaking everything health. Mental health, emotional health, spiritual health, physical health. We are ensuring that we are talking about our health today, and because we hit all four corners and need to make sure we stay in collaboration with God so that we're reaching and not missing the mark with all four corners of our health, mentally, and spiritually, most importantly. It's important that we pay attention to these things, okay? So remember, we had Pastor Steph, who was on with us, I believe, Tuesday morning. Pastor Steph was giving some information about our 4th annual Breaking the Yoke conference, and it is going to be so exciting. We are so excited to be planning it. But I hope something different came to mind this morning, and we were talking about foods that help us to be encouraged with keeping up with our commitment of being abstinent. So I am leading the abstinence awareness group. And I wanted to do sobriety, and God was like, yeah, I need you to focus more on this. And I am definitely seeing why. So shout outs to God for always telling us what we need and not what we want. And, first I was thinking about, foods that would possibly help to feed our confidence, but it just kept giving me mental health. And I'm like, we've covered that before. Of course, we've done that. But are there foods, we know that the aphrodisiac foods, like strawberries that help to feed the sexual urges, and we need to be refraining from that right now. But also refraining not just from sexual pleasure, sexual activity, but also any form of intoxicant that can be looked at as a form of intoxicant. So what foods support abstinence? Whether it's compulsive eating, whether it's a compulsive substance, whether it's a compulsive act such as that. But what are the foods that support your mental clarity? Those foods they provide dense in our nutrition. They're high fiber. They stabilize our blood sugar. So they're saying that we need to make sure we are focusing on foods like leafy greens, of course, lean proteins, which include fish or chicken, healthy fats, which include avocado and nuts. And every time I hear about healthy fat food, I always laugh and say, forever, you just hear fatty foods. And it's not until you get a little more intentional with eating healthier, that there are healthy fats that you should incorporate into your eating lifestyle, not your diet, your eating lifestyle, regardless of what goals you. It's not just refraining from the foods that support abstinence, just in general. These foods help to stabilize your energy. Anyone who knows me knows I have this off and on struggle with my sleep patterns. They are, the other night I barely even went to sleep. It's all over the place. By the time I go to bed a lot of times, it's morning time, it's time to get up. We're on with this due time with Pastor Steph from 7 to 9 a.m. So we have to be up at least by 6 something, whether it's 6 a.m., 6:30 a.m. We can't just wake up and just, pop right on. So, and these foods also help to reduce cravings. Of course, most important factor. So again, let's get into a little of the information with these foods. Leafy greens and vegetables like spinach. I love spinach. Kale, I've come to like kale. Broccoli, love broccoli. And chard. What's chard? Y'all know what chard is? I'm not sure what chard is. Chard, which provides essential minerals like magnesium to help manage your stress and to support the detoxification, y'all. When you are pursuing abstinence, you are detoxing. Let me tell you something. Woo-hoo-hoo. There are some things that I am learning. The more and more I am speaking with the Lord to make sure I commit myself to abstinence. And the changes your body feels like they're going through because you're no longer feeding your body with that activity, those substances, being compulsive with doing those things. A lot of times we think we're free when we're doing these things. Like, oh, I'm free. I just like to, engage in sex, and I like to do this. No, you're not free. You're actually in bondage. Because whenever your body says, I want it now, guess what you do? You run towards it and you feel it. Try telling your body, oh no, I'm good. Especially when you're heavily engaged in having like casual sex is just a lifestyle. We have a check-in from our girl, Anika. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us and making sure that we are up and running this morning. What's another group of foods? High protein foods. Foods like chicken, fish, eggs, and lentils. Pastor Steph always brings up lentils. Provide amino acids, which are crucial for repairing tissues and synthesizing neurotransmitters that help regulate your mood. When you start withdrawing from things that you've been feeding your body with, Watch how your mood shifts. Trust me. Or just think about anything you used to do, you used to eat all the time, you used to. Ooh, have you been paying attention to your mood? I'll never forget the first time I ever looked into any form of detox. You know, so of course I went to the health store and I'm like, oh, what kind of powders do you guys have? And this, that, and the third. And the first question the associate asked me who worked in the store, he said, do you work? He asked, do you work? I said, yes. He was like, you're going to have to take this detox when either you have days off or you take off of work because your mood is going to. And you can't have that type of mood being on somebody's job. I'd never heard of that before. Never thought of that before. Never. But when he said it, it made sense even without me having a certain level of knowledge. And the more I started learning and the more I started going through and experiencing, telling my body no with certain things, abstinence, I was like, wow, no, this is real. Thank you, Jesus, that I work for you and I work from home. Because whenever you start telling me I need to detox from whatever, I don't have to worry about being in an office. I don't have to worry about working at a restaurant. I don't have to worry about being around a whole bunch of people. I'm good. Me and you in this thing. And you can now help me get through it. And you feel, oh my goodness, you feel, if you've ever gone through that, please put in the chat. It's like you feel, and I'm like, wow, man, I see. But you know, when people say they detox from drugs and alcohol and everything, you know, it's like, but again, we're no different. Their substance is just a drug and alcohol, but it's all the same. It's all the same. What's another group? Healthy fats, again, avocado, nuts, almond, macadamia, and seeds like flax seeds and chia seeds. They all provide energy. They provide sustained energy and help keep you full, which reduces temptation to snack. Yes. I just said to Pastor Steph a few days ago, like I noticed when I eat healthy, I don't want to then go snack on sugar or any sugar. You know, so it's like if I'm eating fruit, if I'm eating oranges and apples, and then I look over and I see cookies, I don't want these cookies. I've tried that before. Oh my goodness, it just felt like, what am I eating? It's like you're trying to mix the two, and I know some sweet is sweet, but it's a different type of sweet. No, it's not hitting the same. It's not hitting the same. So I actually love that point. These healthy fats provide sustained energy and help to keep you full, which reduces your temptation to snack. I love that one. Complex carbohydrates. What's this one about? Oats. Y'all like oatmeal? Oatmeal is amazing. I stole Pastor Steph's recipe for oatmeal once. Oatmeal never really sits well in my stomach. The recipe was good, but after a while, like maybe a half hour later, it doesn't really sit well. So I'm gonna have to figure that out because I love eggs. If I can get into oatmeal as well, I know I'm going to be really good when it comes time to eat breakfast. I'm not really a breakfast person. Complex carbohydrates also include brown rice, quinoa, and sweet potatoes, which I have learned to love without all the sugar and cinnamon and honey and syrup and pineapple juice and whatever else we put into yams especially during Thanksgiving time. Pop that sweet potato, clean it, pop it in the oven, let it cook, put some butter, and I go in, especially when I couple it up with some spinach or kale. What? Okay. These complex carbs provide steady, slow-burning energy without the spikes and crashes of sugar. So sugar provides energy, but then we crash. And I enjoy coffee, but I really don't think it gives you any energy. You know how people, they drink coffee because it gets them hype, it keeps them up. I don't think coffee. Now, I'll never forget, way before I started drinking coffee, I was working at Cheesecake Factory and I went to work bone tired, and this was during my days of always running the street. But I went to work tired, so I must have been looking and running over. and one of my managers asked like, "Oh, you want me to make you an espresso?" And I was like, "No, I don't even drink coffee." And he's like, "I'm gonna make you an espresso." When I tell you, within a matter of minutes, I went from running around that restaurant, literally because of the energy it gave me, and I didn't like that instantaneous flip like that. That did not help me feel comfortable. So I was like, no, thank you. But it definitely woke me up, like he said. So these complex carbohydrates provide the energy that we need, but it doesn't help our body to just out of nowhere crash and bum out. It provides that good energy that helps us successfully get throughout the day. I like that. I'm gonna have to definitely make sure I keep that in mind. Fermented food, probiotics, kimchi. What's kimchi? You know what kimchi is? I know. Sauerkraut and plain yogurt support healthy gut, which I've done my little research on. A whole lot stems from my gut. Whether we're healthy and unhealthy depends on how healthy or unhealthy our gut is. Healthy gut microbiome, which is strongly linked to your mental health and decreased craving. So feeding your body with these probiotics, again, the kimchi, the sauerkraut, the plain yogurt, helps to decrease your craving. This is interesting. I don't know if this is interesting to you guys. It's quiet. But you let me know if this is making you go, if it's making you upset, if it's feeding you new information or allowing you. Now, you see here with the meat, right? It's saying food during abstinence, don't eat meat. Now, I don't know about not eating my wings. I'm a wing connoisseur. So I'm going to talk to Jesus about this and see if he's really saying that. So they're also providing quick strategies for us to maintain our abstinence, right? And they're saying that we need to make sure we focus on nutrient density, which is making sure that we choose foods that provide maximum nutrition so that it can battle the deficiencies caused by addiction or poison. I don't know anyone who engages in indulgence in sex a whole lot. That is like so on point of your nutrients. And, we have a check-in from Lady Tamika. Good morning, Lady Tamika. Looking forward to speaking with you soon, God's prayers. Good morning, Pastor Steph. Hey, say good morning to Pastor Steph. Pastor Steph says this info is great. Thank you. Shout out to the Holy Spirit, because I was like, okay, which health tips are we going to give God? Because he makes sure that Pastor Steph is nice and thorough. But again, in support of God choosing me to lead abstinence awareness. I'm sorry, I think we're getting. Oh, okay. Shout out to Anika. She's saying kimchi is a traditional Korean side dish. It's salted and fermented vegetables, most commonly napa cabbage or Korean radish, and it's seasoned with gochugaru, which is chili powder, garlic, ginger, and fish sauce. So it gives that spicy, tangy, and savory flavor. Thank you, Anika. Thank you. That actually sounds pretty interesting. I love cabbage. So I may have to try this recipe. Okay. And that is linked to, what did it say here? All right. Fermented foods, probiotics. So that recipe that Anika just sent, that's the kimchi. So that's a dish you can eat that will feed your gut and give it the healthy bacteria that your gut needs. Thank you. I had no idea what it was. Never heard of it before. Okay, so it's saying, yes, make sure we focus on our nutrient density, making sure we stay hydrated, drinking plenty of water to help your body flush out toxins, especially during alcohol or drug recovery. Again, even with sex recovery, because we going to talk clean the real at the same time. Listen, when sexual activity is part of your lifestyle and you're so casual with it, again, you're not that on top of your eating habits. It just don't typically work out that way. So your sugar, making sure that you abstain from a lot of sugar, making sure you stay hydrated. Okay, avoid sugar foods. Limit your sugar. Look at that. Processed foods. I've been cutting down on that. And refined carbs, which can increase your craving. Well, you know, I didn't realize at one point until I was watching something that a lot of drug addicts feed off of sugary snacks. So this just supports, you know, the fact that nothing just stays contained to one thing. Structure your meals. Maintain a consistent eating schedule to reduce impulsive eating. And I have to say that Pastor Steph is amazingly disciplined with food prep. She is my shero, and I need to be like her when I grow up, because it's true. When you're hungry, like right now, I am hungry. The first thing I thought about was grabbing a bag of chips real quick. Not let me make these eggs real quick. So making sure that you meal prep is so important, because it will definitely help to reduce the impulsiveness, and it just helps you be on point of a lot of things in your life overall. Okay, so making sure that we understand the connection between the foods and the things that we need to abstain from in our life, how that feeds into that. Making sure that we understand that we have to be on point with everything that God has given us, because it's real easy to think, oh, that has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with everything. Okay? All right, let's get into our news. Came across, I couldn't really find anything that I thought was worthy of today, this morning, but we're going to indulge in some of this news and see what's going on. Some news that was like so intense. I was like, okay, we may have to come back to that on a later date. Okay, so we have, I don't know if anyone has come across the story about the Central Park incident that just took place, I believe, this past Monday. Yes, it took it. Okay, so you have 30-year-old Lateef Caldwell, which was arrested this past Monday for allegedly attacking a 35-year-old Muslim woman right in Central Park, New York. Now, immediately, I thought of Central Park 5, because that was the incident that took place. The woman was jogging. It was not late at night, but it was dark, and that's when she was attacked. It was right in Central Park, right? So this gentleman, he actually lives in a shelter, Ward's Island shelter. Okay, and he was actually convicted for a similar assault that he blamed on a quote-unquote misunderstanding, and he was actually just recently released on parole less than a year ago in connection with that same sexual abuse case. So that took place, I believe, in about April of 2022, and that incident was also in Manhattan. And that previous incident, he did plead guilty to a lesser charge, though, and he was sentenced 3 years in prison and 5 years of post-release supervision, which I always think is very, very interesting how they do that, especially with certain crimes. So why not just sentence him to 8 years? I don't know, but I guess that's their logic. So in that previous incident, he allegedly attacked a 23-year-old woman and tackled her to the ground and tried to pull down her pants while he straddled her. So from that, he was charged with, the charges were attempted rape, attempted sexual abuse, both of those attempts in the first degree. And his quote to that previous case was, quote, "I recognize her." This was the misunderstanding. Okay, so listen to the quote that he gave. "Oh, that incident was a misunderstanding because I recognized her. I had a disturbance with her. That was a misunderstanding. What really happened was I bumped into her and fell with her to the ground. I then had an erection when it happened." So she's walking, la-di-da-di-da-da. You're walking, la-di-da-di-da-da. You accidentally bump into her. She falls, you fall, which already it's like, well, what kind of bump is this? What kind of bump is this? When you're skating, I don't know. She falls, you fall, and when you fell, you just happen to have an erection. So how do you explain trying to get her pants down? I just want to know what kind of bump this was. What kind of skip to my loo were you doing in the park that you would bump into her to this degree? And so were you walking around with the erection? He would have did better staying quiet, in my opinion. Okay, so his parole is set to expire in the year of 2029. And in this current case that just took place this last Monday, he is charged with attempted rape, attempted sexual assault, and sexual abuse, the same charges from the previous case back in 2022. And all of this took place at 5:30 p.m. Okay, so y'all, we had daylight savings time. What was that, earlier this month? Right? Which means at 5:30 p.m., it is still daylight outside. So men are walking around claiming they have erections and accidentally bumping into women and tackling them and putting their pants down while the sun is out. So long go the days of people being stupid and waiting until nightfall. No, now they're going to do it in broad daylight. And this hasn't just started, but it's really crazy to me when I think that I just don't care what time of day it is anymore. Tevin says, wow, I have to use that one. No, you do not. Or you will be labeled extra slow like this man. Because he would. Sometimes we're better just shh. Say nothing. I was watching something last night, but the suspect was a minor. And his, I forgot what they called them. I forgot, but his attorney pretty much was telling him like certain things, say no comment. And he was asking the child, do you know which questions to answer, which questions to say no comment to? So he was pretty much prepping him before they went into the investigation room with the two detectives. Where was his counsel? You're homeless, so you get a public defender. You can't afford to pay anyone. Where was your counsel that should have advised you to say nothing? You know, there's a lot to be said about God blessing us with discernment. So thankfully to this woman, because she did try to fight him off and everything, there were some people walking by and they helped her. They helped to fight him off, and he did try to flee, but then he was apprehended by the police. So shout out to those people who were not afraid to get involved, because unfortunately a lot of people who get involved in trying to help others, they end up getting hurt themselves. So thank God for their bravery and them helping this woman, because I can't even imagine how scared she was. And she probably felt safe, like, oh, this is such a big part. But it's daytime. I have a destination. You know, I'm not just here chilling. So, you know, I should be okay. And Mika says, thank God for those that helped. Absolutely. Because God knows that she would have continued to be successful in fighting him off, or what else he may else have tried to do. You know, it didn't say that he had a weapon on him, but again, we don't. And you could have had a weapon on you, but in the midst of you doing something stupid, you probably forgot you had it. Thank God. Thank God. Okay, so we also have, oh my goodness, in Kew Gardens in Queens, we had at a bar, and oh, wait, 1 second, we have another comment. Tevin says, I wonder if the lady was black or other side. Said the lady was Muslim, so yeah, that's all information that they give. Either way, she wasn't going down. She was determined not to go down, which possibly is what got the attention of those who wanted to help her. Okay, so we have unfortunately a very bad incident that turned fatal out in Kew Garden, Queens, at a bar called, I think it's called Hanger. So you had two people walk into the bar. From what some bystanders, some employees were saying, it looked like they walked in with a chip on their shoulder, like they had an issue with someone in the bar already. And this was about 1:30 a.m. So, of course, it's still dark outside, pretty much nighttime. You had one gentleman walking in with a pink sweatsuit. You had another gentleman walking in with a black sweatsuit. And they're saying that the suspect in the pink hoodie appears to have drawn his weapon from his back, out of his pants, and the two head straight to the back of the bar. So it seems like they knew exactly where their target was. Someone says just after that happened, there were cops here on every other corner. So, I'm sorry, every other hour. So there was a gentleman who has a barbershop around the corner from this bar. And he was saying this is so crazy because a lot of college kids that are finishing up school at St. John's, they, go around, I guess they patronize the bar, they hang out there, eat, drink, whatever. He said it's a good vibe. The neighborhood is very quiet. And they're saying that because of they heard an argument go on. And next thing they knew, they heard 5 gunshots. And unfortunately, one of the bullets hit 29-year-old Dimitri McKay in his left arm. And when I was reading, I was like, oh, okay, hit him in his left arm. But unfortunately, the bullet went through his arm and pierced his heart, which caused him to pass away. So his father, he refuses to speak on camera because he says that his son was very quiet, very humble. His son rarely went out and would not want the attention. So it's kind of like, well, who am I to now give this whole soliloquy about my son? And I wasn't even there. And had he been here, he probably wouldn't even want to talk on camera, because he just wasn't that type of person. Okay, he says that his son was with his girlfriend that night. So definitely praying that his girlfriend is okay. Not just physically, there wasn't anything reported that she or anyone else was hit by any of the 5 bullets. But even mentally, the girlfriend told him that when the 2 men came in, they got into an argument with someone in the back. Okay, so again, that confirms that they knew where their target was. So when they heard the argument, now here's the crazy part. The girlfriend says that when they heard the argument, they said, okay, let's get up out of here. And unfortunately, they did not get out of here quick enough. Something that we all need. I know here on this Due Time, the Due Time crew, a lot of the times have spoken about how instead of helping, instead of pulling the cops to report things, you'd sooner pull out your phone or just stand around to see and witness the antics. This couple said, okay, let's get up out of here. They're grown, 29 years old. They're grown, but they're still young. So they could have been like the ignorant type and would have pulled their phones out and be like, oh, let's try to record this, so on and so forth. But I'm at a bar. I see 2 people walk in looking like this. Fully put on, masks on. It's time to go. And again, unfortunately, they did not make it out in time. One of the employees at the bar says that Dimitri was very much an innocent bystander, so just confirming that he had absolutely nothing to do with the altercation, but unfortunately he lost his life. And again, that's how it happens a lot of the times. It's like, I have nothing to do with this, but because I'm there, I get hit. So if they're asking anyone if they have any information on these 2, if you recognize these outfits, I guess because they're not able to really see their faces, they're asking that you just give up any information that you may have. But again, I think one of the biggest things that all of us can take away from this tragic incident, this fatal incident, is the minute you feel like your surroundings are no longer safe, relocate. There is nothing wrong with leaving. It will very much save your life. Okay? So praying that the girlfriend, recovers from this, witnessing this, and Dimitri McKay's family recovers mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually from this, and praying that God has his way with these two suspects that they're apprehended at some time. Unfortunately, right now, they don't know who they are, so no arrests have been made. But we're just going to keep this in prayer, and hopefully we'll get some updates on this. Okay? I came across something else, another story that I thought was rather interesting. And it's not your typical news story. It's pretty much like also giving some tips, again, to be aware of. I think we're really going to talk about discernment today, because we just got finished talking about the couple that says, you know what, they looking real sus, as we say in the streets, so let's get up out of here. And right now we are about to talk about discernment, and when people approach you with certain things, what are we doing? What are we doing? Terrence says, what's the odds of that? Oh, I'm sorry. Terrence says first, wow, went through his arm to his heart, so sad. What's the odds of that? Yeah, but we hear a lot of times, like, they got shot in the leg. You're like, oh, okay, thank God it was just their leg. But they got shot in their right leg where the major artery is, and they bled out. You heard of plenty of times, I've heard of that before, watching documentaries, watching First 48. They got shot in their arm, but the bullet pierced the arm and went through to the lung and, hit the lung, and that's why they passed it. Yeah, it gets crazy. It gets crazy. Okay, so this next story / tip, they're saying strangers at airports. So they're calling these traps. There's traps now at airports that they're telling all people, all passengers, all employees, especially the passengers, because you're the ones that, they tell us to make sure we get to the airport at least 2 hours before our flight. If you're an on-time person, you'll get there maybe 3-4 hours before your flight. So sometimes you're just sitting around, grabbing something to eat, waiting for your plane to get ready to board for them to open your gate. And they're saying airports are not just travel hubs. They are one of the most common places for smuggling setups, because thousands of strangers cross paths every minute. One will make a mistake that will destroy their life. So again, remember, we're highlighting this with discernment. So let's get into a couple of these tips. They're saying trap 1 is the blind mule. Someone hands you something which may look like or be a coffee cup. So something as innocent as, I'm handing you a coffee cup. I'm asking you to hold this. Now, why are you as a stranger asking me to hold a coffee cup? Okay. It could be a coffee cup. It could be a shopping bag. It could be a jacket. Okay. And they'll say, hold this for a second. And inside of that coffee cup, inside that jacket, inside of the shopping bag, there could be drugs hidden in the lining or false compartments. And then they disappear. So one woman said that a stranger at the airport asked me to hold his coffee for 1 second. Inside the cup, there were drugs, and the police were already walking towards me. Why would the police already be walking towards me? I don't know. Okay, so they're saying, yes, they ask you to hold these things. Security walks over, next thing you know, sometimes with drug sniffing dogs, of course. You're the one holding the item. So to them, who's the smuggler? You or the stranger? The one caught with the item. They're saying another trap is the fingerprint frame. They're saying the moment you touch whatever the item is, your fingerprints become the evidence. So in certain countries like Singapore, UAE, or Malaysia, their drug laws compared to New York drug laws are completely and drastically different. Pastor Steph says, I ain't holding nothing. That's what I'm saying, Pastor Steph. I'm just envisioning myself anywhere. Airport, shopping center, the bodega, and a stranger walks up and says, oh, hold this. What? How you end up walking up on me? So already I'm mad at myself because I'm not paying attention to my surroundings. See what I'm talking about? Okay, so they're saying that because those countries, their drug laws are a lot more brutal than the United States of the Americas. You can't say things like, I was just holding it as a defense and get away with it. You're automatically sentenced to a minimum of like 20 years. And some of their drug laws and convictions carry a death penalty. That is, we don't have that here, right? We don't have that here. As the Steph says, they were already following him, right? Because if you as a stranger come up to me and ask me to hold something, and the next thing I know, security's already on me. But if security's on me, didn't they just see the stranger come and ask me to hold this? I don't know how that works. The third trap is the distraction theft. So this one doesn't necessarily include drugs, it's just theft. While you're focusing on another object that's in your hand, an accomplice behind you cuts open your bag, and they can steal your passport, your cash, your cards, whatever else you have in there, because you're so fixated on what's going on in your hand. And you know what, it's funny because I don't really wear book bags. But especially for females, you know how like we'll have like the mini little backpacks and all it has is like a little clamp. There's when I'm traveling for like to do our media work, sometimes like I'll have the regular book bag, but you gotta unzip, and I may have my iPad in there, but you're not gonna be able to just unzip a little bit and take that out. You don't have to unzip that book bag. But whenever there were times when I would wear like my smaller book bag where it just had snap, I would wear it in the front a lot of times. Because especially when you live in New York of the city, okay, it is populated heavily. You go to Manhattan, you're in 42nd Street, you're in Union Square, you're down there. It is heavily populated. So I'm not walking around with anything on my back with a bunch of people around where I could probably think someone is opening my backpack, but it could be that I just snagged it. So now it's the time someone is actually opening my backpack, but I'm thinking I'm just snagging on something. Keep your bag in front of you. Keep your bag. Pastor Steph says you could look like a stranger. Doesn't mean you're a stranger. Interesting, Pastor Steph. Interesting. Okay, we're going to cover one more before we get our lady Tamika on. Trap 4, they're saying, is the good person target. Okay, so that's kind of going towards what Pastor Steph just mentioned. Scammers don't choose rude travelers. They choose people who look calm, people who look polite, people who look helpful, because good people hesitate to say no. That hesitation is the trap. Let's get our lady Tamika on here and see what she has to say about some of these. Good morning, Lady Tamika.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good. We have a shout out from Miss Grace. Hello. How are you, Pastor Grace? Thank you so much for joining us. Okay, Lady Tamika, so we have, unfortunately, this, how old was he again? 30? Yes, this 30-year-old homeless man who was just released out on parole for committing an attempted rape and sexual assault back in April of 2022. And now he was just caught fleeing Central Park because he tried to sexually assault and rape a 45-year-old woman. And thank God for her wanting to fight back and being able to fight back. And that possibly being what caught the attention of, they're calling them the Good Samaritans, who was willing and able to help her. And thank God for the cops being right there, who was able to apprehend him as he tried to escape. And he claims that the previous case where he just was released from jail over, that was just a misunderstanding because he just accidentally bumped into this 24-year-old woman, and he just happened to have had an erection during that time as they both fell. He bumped into her, she fell, he fell, and he just happened to have an erection. So he wasn't trying to sexually assault her. That was just what was physically going on with him at that point.
Right.
Lady Tamika. And then you turn around right after you get released. So what happened this time? Because it's saying that he threw this woman on the bench. He attacked her, threw this woman on the bench, and ripped off. She had on a body left Habib, and he tore that, was trying to tear that, and was trying to rip her pants down.
All right. So the first one, like you said, he was, mistaken. He wasn't doing anything. He, how many men we know walk around with erections, for no reason, bumped into her. That was some serious. Wait a minute, you on a subway? Or you outside? You outside? So you bumped into her with an erection, and she had on loose clothing. So it must have just, bumps make your pants fall down. I'm not understanding how in the world you phantom all of that, and then get caught for the same thing, and this lady has on her whole garb. So yes. I guess she didn't buy the right material and it kind of shredded for no reason. And, again, we got to worry about these women with these loose pants that just seem to fall down around you specifically. I know I've walked all my life and I've never gone anywhere where my pants just suddenly fell down. There had to be something that caused that type of reaction, and so I guess this now is going to be the second misunderstanding that you're going to be caught for. Makes no sense. None. Big liar. That's all that is.
And this is what killed. I mean, obviously they didn't really believe you. And I was annoyed to read that in the previous case, they allowed him to plead guilty to the lesser charge, which only granted him the 3 years plus parole and then the 5-year post-sentencing supervision. With a crime like that, why not just automatically sentence him 10 years?
Right.
And, 10 or more years. And when he gets out, or 10 or more years without parole. And when he gets out, he gets out. So you claim this is what happened before. And then no sooner than you get out, you're doing it again. So I just killed, like you said, the misunderstanding from the previous one. But what about this happening at about 5:30 p.m.? That's another thing that just unfortunately, a park like Central Park, which is humongous, a park like Central Park, where there are a lot of places someone can hide, predators can hide, thieves can hide, stupid people can hide, who plan on doing something crazy, but you're figuring it's daytime, the sun is out, there are people out here, I'm a lot safer now than even during the wintertime where it's still early, but it feels late because sunset is about at least 4:30, and it's dark. But what is happening that they are just not caring about whether the sun is up or not? Ooh, that just gave me something.
I think about that as well. And like you said, Central Park is one of those places, and it's sad because it's very touristy. You got a whole lot of people that don't know the atmosphere, don't know there's certain areas, even with us in broad daylight, you don't want to walk by yourself.
Yes.
Because you can be a target at any time. That's one of the things that I love about New York. New York will teach you fast. Okay, I'm gonna walk this way, but something looks a little strange. Even if it looks like your everyday, there's something that God gives you. That God gives you discernment to go, yeah, this looks good, but why is that man standing over there in the
Mm-hmm.
you know? And he might just be sitting there, leaning against a tree, trying to drink a cup of coffee. It looked normal, but God gives you the discernment. Something don't feel right.
Right. Absolutely. And as you said, it's a little sad, but we have to be on alert all the time now.
All the time.
Like there's no such thing now as, okay, I'm leaving my house at this certain time. I don't have to be as on guard. I don't have to stress to my children as much that if you go out during the day, it has to be to this degree. But if I allow you to go out at night, it has to be to this degree. It needs to be to the highest degree, regardless of the time. They're committing crimes first thing in the morning, as the sun is rising, while the sun is bright out, when it's dark. It just doesn't matter anymore. It does not matter. And I think that's one of the most concerning factors about this story in particular, because you would really do all of this, not only in broad daylight, but in a public place where there are always people in Central Park.
And I think about, I'm sorry, the second offense. So she's completely covered. There's nothing. You don't see arms, you don't see, you don't see legs, you don't see anything, and and it also goes to show you, how much, certain men respect women. The fact that even after the assault was that they found, that this happened the first time, it's almost like they gave him a slap on the hand.
Yes.
The whole idea of, we both fell and I had an erection and her clothes, slowly came off, or however, how did her pants come down? And all of that just lets you know, I guess their thing is, because the act wasn't committed, we're going to slap you on the hand. No, stop this foolishness. The whole idea, you conceived that whole idea, served time for it, and now here we are with the second time. If they had hit you like they should have the first time, we wouldn't be through. Well, hopefully, because the sad part about it is, in some cases, we still have recidivism. That means you're in there, you come out, you go right back in.
Yes. And I agree. Had they hit him the way they should have, he wouldn't have been out and on the street right now to be able to do this. Yeah, he wouldn't have been out. So those are some really good points, Lady Tamika. Okay, unfortunately, we have the fatality of the 29-year-old gentleman in Queens at a Kew Gardens bar, because two men decided to walk in with the target. They didn't say if they were able to hit the target, but a young couple were in there. The girlfriend says that they saw them come in, they heard the arguing and said, okay, it's time to go. But unfortunately, not before he was shot in the arm, and the bullet pierced his arm and hit his heart, and that's what caused the fatality. So now there have been no arrests, but when they do catch them, I'm saying when, it's not going to be only reckless endangerment. It's not going to only be a concealed weapon charge. Now you're looking at murder. Now you're both looking at murder. They did not say if both. They said the gentleman in the pink suit is the one that pulled the gun from his pants in the back. They didn't say that the guy in the black did, but they both may very well go down for murder, even if you were not the trigger man. But again, we can't even say. You're thinking, oh, this happened at about 1:30 a.m. So this is late at night. But you're figuring, okay, we're out, maybe just chilling, having a few drinks, and we're going to leave soon. And this is what you need. This is what you need, Lady Tamika.
We're going to label this look, listen, and pay attention.
Really?
I mean, because both occurrences, look, listen, and pay attention. What is God telling you? In this, you're okay. So fine, your girlfriend said, we're going to go into this place. We're going to, have a good time, eat, laugh, giggle. This is a place where you come and socialize. I've been in that type of setting where, everybody pretty much knows everybody. It's a nice setting. You look around, who are these people? Or maybe that was their first time. We don't know, but the guy in the peach or pink, you just kind of look at him and go, that looks not, you might not look at the guy with the love because you're thinking, oh, well, you got love on your chest, and it goes to, you got love on your chest. And this is the type of stuff that you come in to do. You can't even, look at an outfit and say, well, you hear the argument. You don't move quick enough. Look, listen, pay attention. Had you looked to see what that, as they came in, maybe you weren't even paying. You were so busy eating your food, you didn't see them when they came in, and listen, you're listening to them argue. You decided, okay, fine, we're going to leave. Let me just get this chicken wing. Let me just finish this chicken wing. Unfortunately, that ended up ending your life. That second of not paying attention and moving when you should have caused your life to cease. And, my thing is, this girlfriend must be going all kinds of trauma, because it was her idea. I decided to take him over there. We went to eat, and now I have no boyfriend, and my heart goes out to the entire family, who now, no longer has, the mother who doesn't, parents that don't have a child, family members, if they're siblings, there's a lot going on now.
Yes. Well, it didn't say that she initiated the outing, but she said that they did. Yeah, they did notice them walk in, and soon after walking in, the argument started, and that's when they decided, like, okay, it's time to go. But as you were speaking, Lady Tanika, 1 Peter 5:8 came to mind. It says, "Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, walks around like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour." And it has a lot to do, it has everything to do with what you just said. We're at a bar. So we've at least had 1 or 2 drinks, at least, which, despite what people believe, anytime we ingest this alcohol, it dulls our senses. Mm-hmm. Which is why the verse says, be sober, be vigilant, meaning you need to be on point 1,000,000%, because just that quick, because I'm looking at this. We're not in COVID. So you walk in looking like this, and I can't even say that I can identify you. If something was to go down, it's time to go. But again, like you said, sometimes even when you get the notion like, okay, well, what's about to happen? Because listen, young people who are not all prunes and everything, when you see certain things, that's the first thing you have to say, like, wait, what's about to go down? And then if nothing goes down, you might be a little surprised. But when you're sitting anywhere and you see this, you're like, hold up now. But because I'm sitting there and I want to finish my drink and or food and or conversation and or whatever, I'm going to ignore, but I may figure like I can still keep my eye on what's going on, but I may not want to leave yet. I feel like I might, but I feel like I need to be paying attention to what's going on. And I'm not saying that this is exactly what they were thinking. But again, as you were talking, this is what's coming to mind. And with being someone who knows what it is to be out drinking, a lot of times that's what happens. I feel like I should leave, but I may not want to leave yet, but I'm gonna still keep my eye on, so in case we gotta make a run for it, we already there. But they weren't even able to. They made the decision at whichever point, whether it was when they first walked in, when those gentlemen first walked in, or whether it was when they started hearing the argument that they said, you know what, it's time to go. And they didn't make it out in time.
Exactly.
They did not make it out in time, unfortunately. Well, we have our Pastor Kale on with us. Let's pull him up now to see. Good morning, Pastor Kale.
Good morning, ladies. Good morning. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well, thank you.
Good, good. Before I give a quick recap on this, we have a comment from Anika that says we have an overcrowded jail system that also releases these quote unquote low crimes, and they end up committing it again. Yes, it's actually talking about the guy in Central Park. And Terrence says they can find them, meaning these two gentlemen here. Pastor K, I know you kind of came in mid-story, but we have these two gentlemen here who walked into the Kew Gardens bar at about 1:30 a.m. and they walked straight to the back, got into an argument with someone, and before anyone knew anything, 5 shots went ringing. The guy in the pink is the one who pulled the gun out. There was a young couple in there. Once they heard the arguing, the girlfriend said, I don't remember if she said it was her or the boyfriend, but they decided to leave. But unfortunately, the boyfriend was struck in the arm with the bullet, but it pierced his arm and hit his heart, and that's what caused his death. So they have unfortunately been no arrest made because they have not been able to apprehend these gentlemen yet.
Wow. Well, first of all, you see a guy coming in there with a pink outfit, it's time to go. He's already messed up with the fashion police.
Yeah,
he's already wanted. They looking for him. He's coming in with a pink outfit with a hoodie on with the pink outfit. It's time to go. And I like a chicken wing like everybody else. But I hear ruckus. I got to put the chicken wing down. We got to get out of here. We got to get something to go. I don't even want it to go plate. I'm just gonna go. I've seen too many things stem from somebody stepping on your sneakers.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So now you come in and you purposely go to the back and you get into an argument. So this has all been planned, and you have a gun with you. This has been planned. Mm-hmm. The man in the pink outfit had planned this. It's time to go. We don't need nothing else.
Yes, unfortunately. Oh, unfortunately. Like I said, they didn't get out of there, quick enough. And so as Lady Tamika was speaking, it made me think of that verse where God is like, this is why you need to be so on point, because look how quick things jump off. And the second we start doing things that help to dull our senses, even when we think we're moving fast, we ain't moving fast enough. We are not moving fast enough. Okay,
while you say that scripture, this is also the reason why, we need to get our house in order, because tomorrow's not promised.
Yes.
Today ain't promised. You know what I mean? You never know whether you're going to make it back home.
Mm-hmm.
My prayers when I leave in the morning is, God, bring me back home safely.
Yes.
We have to be specific on the things that we pray about.
Mm-hmm.
Even something about bring me home, that might sound something like, well, it's obvious I'm going to come home, but it's not obvious.
Right.
Not at all.
It's not obvious.
Right. Whew. I know that they, again, like you said, they just figured we're going to go here real quick, whether it was planned or not, and leave. But unfortunately, didn't leave the way you came in. So we have, guys, some traps that the powers that be are attempting to warn us against. They're airport traps that strangers can ask you for your help indirectly, unofficially, of helping them smuggle drugs, items, or they can be stealing from you. So we went over the trap of the blind mule, the trap of the fingerprint frame, the trap of the distraction theft, the trap of the good person target. Then you also now have the trap of the fake emergency. And they're saying a lot of these things, this is what happens in airports, because there's a whole lot of people that you can come across and encounter. So the predators are aiming to do these traps at the airport. The fake emergency trap, a woman crying, my flight is boarding, can you hold this? A man in a wheelchair saying, my bag is too heavy. So of course their urgency feels real because they're rehearsing their performance. So that's one of the ways they can get you to now hold this bag that has drugs in it, because a woman's sitting there crying like, oh my goodness, my flight is boarding, can you hold this? And you have a man in a wheelchair, my bag is too heavy, can you please hold this? Now I'm gonna say something about that after you two comment, because one of the things that I feel like we really need to highlight today is discernment. Lady Tamika, the fake emergency trap. What we doing?
I am still on this, pay attention, stop, look, listen. This is things that we learn in school. Like, pay attention to the signs right here. You just la la la, completely missing all the signs. First of all, when I go to the airport, I don't trust nobody. I don't talk to anybody except for the security. That is their particular task. That is their job. I don't socialize. I don't know you, Mr. Ma'am, whomever. Your bag too heavy. Airport security is over there. I'm sure they can help you. Why am I grabbing your bag to help you? It's not that I'm trying to be mean, but you knew that bag was heavy before you left your house and came to this airport. Now all of a sudden you need help. I don't trust people. I'm not holding your bag. I'm not holding your coffee cup. The only thing that I'm holding is the stuff that I left my house with, and I'm very particular. Like, I have a bag that I keep on top of my suitcase. I strap it through my suitcase. It does not leave my sight. Mm-hmm. My ID, my passport, whatever it is I'm using, it's not in a bag. It's usually on my person. Usually when I travel, I wear leggings that have the pockets, or they have the little slide, or they have the zipper. That's on me. So in order for you to get to me, you're going to have to cut my attire in order to get to it. I'm so serious about it. When I get ready to go through the machine and you put your hands up, my passport is in my hand. My ID is I don't even let it go through security. It's on me. You can keep those things. You can keep your ID, because I don't want a chance, it going through the machine and not coming out when I get out, and right. So you have to, again, pay attention. Look at, can you help me with this bag? No, I can't. I can call security for you if you need that. You should have called TSA before you got here. No, I can't, and it's sad because they look at people, and the sad part about it, they look at it as something like this that says Jesus, and she'll help me. I most certainly will not, because I can't get into that situation where I'm incarcerated because I was trying to help you.
Mm-hmm. Pastor KL, the fake emergency trap.
Listen, I'm with you, Mika. You knew that bag was too behind big when you left your house. How you got into the cab? How you got into the car? How did you drag it all the way to the car? Keep dragging. I'm sorry. Or take some stuff out of it. I don't want to carry my own carry-on. My own carry-on. Mm-hmm. I'm going to now add something to my weight in helping you. No, I'm not doing that. And for you that had a baby, you knew you had a baby. You knew you had to get there 2 hours before your plane. I mean, these are just common things that we know now. How you late? Poor planning on your behalf does not constitute an emergency on mine. How you late? I'm not late. We ain't late. Mm-hmm. No, I'm not. And coffee? I'm not. I don't drink coffee. I don't want to hold your coffee. I don't. No, I'm not doing none of that stuff. I don't want to touch nothing that does not belong to me. Mm-hmm. I don't look good in orange. I don't look good in green. I don't look good in all them little colors. And listen, I can't wear the same thing everybody else wears. We ain't in no singing group. I ain't the lead singer. I'm not doing, no, we can't wear the same outfits. I'm sorry.
5 heartbeats.
My question is, how you in a wheelchair asking me to hold your bag? Isn't it easier with you? Are you not sitting down?
You can't put it on your knees? Is that big?
So I'm supposed to take your bag that's too heavy, where you can conveniently sit it on your lap, regardless of whether it's light as a feather or whether it's heavy, and I'm supposed to hold it while I'm standing. Because if you're in a wheelchair because you're paralyzed, your legs can't feel the weight, no way. So I'm trying to figure out, why would this make sense for me to stand and hold something? That's what the person standing does to the person sitting down. How many times have you been with someone and you go to get on a bus together or a train, and that the person you with sit down, and one of the first things you do is take your bag off your shoulder and put it on their lap? Okay, good. You the one sitting, hold this. Because the bag is too heavy for you to hold on your shoulder while you're standing. So since you're sitting, you could hold this. Along with Pastor Kale with the I ain't touching nothing that you was just touching. At the same time, how is this making sense? How is me holding your coffee going to solve your dilemma of you missing your flight? Oh my gosh, I'm missing my flight. Can you hold this? How is this the remedy for you missing your flight? You're going to open the gate now for you because I'm holding your coffee. It's like the oh my goodness. Have we gone down to not having any discernment at all? Like zero, as my grandmother would say, zero. Oh wait, let's see, maybe one more. Because I would definitely like to get into the other one. Okay, so I believe that was trap 5. So another trap is the polite trap. Most victims know something feels wrong, but they worry about being rude, so they help. 1 second of politeness can become years in prison. So they're saying, while you're at an airport, never hold anything for a stranger. If someone insists, make sure you step back, raise your hands, say clearly, put it on the floor. Your politeness can wait, your freedom cannot. Lady Tamika, the politeness trap, because you're afraid of offending someone or hurting someone's feelings or being rude. You may be reluctant to hold these items for them or this item for them, but you say, you know what, I'll hold it anyway.
Yeah. Again, New York will teach you a whole lot of stuff. How many of us, and this is a Christian broadcast, so this is perfect. How many of us have walked around with a Jesus shirt or, something? Like, if you ever pay attention to broadcast, there's always some type of Jesus shirt that I have on almost every single solitary day. So when I go out, I've seen in other places, like I'll go to, for instance, I'm going to Dunkin' Donuts to get a donut. I don't drink coffee. So you see me, you standing outside. Miss, can you buy me a cup of coffee? Nope. I sure can. I don't drink it. I'm not going to buy it for you. Not only that, I know that coffee, people that drink coffee, it's an addictive, so why would I buy you, it's almost like buying drugs. So no, there have been other places where, Miss, you see this shirt, your t-shirt, Miss, such and such. No, why would I do it at the airport? Same thing. You thinking that I'm being nice, excuse me, you see my shirt or you see something that you start engaging in a conversation, but I'm watching you the whole entire time. I'm listening for cues that God's going to tell, don't do that. Don't do that. It's just common sense. When I go to the airport, the only thing that I'm concerned about is me, mine, and what I have with me. So there's nothing about, hold this, can you help me with this? I'll even say to you, there's you can go to an agent. If you can't find security, there's an agent over there, ask him. I am not the do right to help. I have no problem telling you, nope, absolutely not. I can't help.
Absolutely. Pastor KL, you're too concerned about making sure you're not rude. So I may be hesitant, but I'll help. I'll hold this for you.
Here in Alabama, everybody's really, really, really nice. And just by my hello, they say I'm rude. I'm from New York. I don't like you. And I'm okay to say that I don't like you. I'm not, I don't know. I say all the time that God has a really good sense of humor because I'm not a people's person. So how would you make me a pastor? Why would you see that in me? You know,
Why would you?
you know, I ran from that for a long time because why would you see that in me? I didn't ask for this. I don't like people. I don't like. You know, and you know, people will say stuff to you, and because you don't want to offend them, okay, I'll hold. No, I'm not holding it. I'm sorry. Oh, they'll come to my establishment and they want to buy cigarettes and they say, oh, I'm 20 cents short. Can you put it in? No, I don't smoke.
Right.
If you can't support your habit, you need to stop doing that thing. I don't smoke. So no, I'm just not that. I'm not that nice person. Oh, baby, let me hold this for you. Oh, let me do. No. I'm sorry. You might need to sit down and tie your shoe. I can't tie your shoe for you. You might need to put that stuff down on the floor until you get a grip of what you. I'm not that nice guy, and it's sad too because even with the collar on, you know, sometimes I don't want to be nice. Just sit me in first class. That's all.
Oh my goodness.
Back to
But
the
you know, a lot of times God is going to use something like that because he knows you're not going to really boast. You know, think about a lot of the other pastors that it's like, oh yeah, I love doing this for people. I love doing it for people. And then sometimes you're like, okay, you're doing a whole lot. Relax, fall back. You know, I really think sometimes he's going to use like, okay, I know you are not the type that be up in a lot of people's faces because you're kind of like I'm a fall back type. Like I have my friends, but I'm not that socialite type of person. And God doesn't need a socialite because they're too busy worried about being social. They're too concerned about being popular. So if I'm already the type that like to be up in people's face, am I going to be the one God chooses to be a pastor? Maybe not. Because it may be a whole lot less about him and a whole lot more about how you're this socialite. You know, so because I've said the same, I've asked the same thing, Pastor Care, with certain things. And I'm like, you asking me to do that? Me. Now, didn't you say you know me better than I know me? Why would you ask me, could you set me up for failure? Is that what you're saying? And you having this whole intense conversation with God. But he knows exactly what he's doing and who he's calling on.
He does.
As we were speaking on the Central Park story, and we were speaking on the time of day that this took place. So this took place at about 5:30 p.m. So as you can see, this photo is part of the footage from the scene of where this crime took place in Central Park. Look how bright and beautiful it is outside. However, you got someone trying to rip a woman's clothes off and rape her while it's broad daylight out here. And when Lady Tamika said something about the sun, it brought something to mind for me of how when we read God's word, there's a lot of associations with God and the sun. Like Jesus's face was shining bright like the sun, and God's light is brighter than the sun. You know, we read in Revelation that when he sends Jesus back and God makes the new earth, when he's going to bring the kingdom down and everything is going to be new, there's not going to be a need for a sun or a moon anymore because it's never going to be nighttime again. There's not going to be a need for the sun because the light from God is going to be what shines and lights up the world. Like we have the sun now, but it's going to be God. And as you were talking to me, I was like, wow, we've gotten bold to the point where we're doing these things right in the face of God. Like we're telling God, I don't give a dag on that you looking right at me. God is he has the kingdom of light. The enemy has the kingdom of darkness. We done got bold to where we stepping out of the time of darkness. And when God says, step into my marvelous light, we step into your marvelous light to be bozos, to be criminals, to be stupid, to be careless, to be reckless, to be all of these things. Meanwhile, we should be making that association, that this light is symbolic of who God is, and not that the moon is symbolic of who the enemy is. But again, when we read, this association is made all the time of how bright the sun shines in association with how bright God and Jesus shines. Pastor KL.
Yeah, it's funny how we think that we can do stuff, and God only sees what we do when we speak to God.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if we're in prayer or we need something from God, then God has a visual of who's talking to them. But
Mm-hmm.
but when we want to do our own stuff, God doesn't see us anymore. He no longer has that same Zoom. He no longer has that same internet that can dial into your life. So in your dirt, he can only see you when you pretend. Now watch this. When you pretend that you're clean, because you're still dirty.
Mm-hmm.
But because my mess is dressed up and seemingly the naked eye can't see my mess, then we're okay with God. But God is from the inside to the outside. You look from the outside, not even knowing about the inside, because as you talked about discernment, because you can't discern anything, you don't see the ins and the outs. I'm sorry, you don't see the ins, you just see the outs. You just see what it appears and what it looks like. You know, a lot of times we come off of things because of what it looks like. Commercials give you the what it looks like. That's why we get on the phone and we buy it. You know what I mean? Because we are attracted to what it looks like. Sometimes we get into relationships because of what it looks like. Oh man, he looks like he got a lot of money. She looks really good, got an hourglass figure. But we don't know the inside.
Right.
But God sees you all the time.
Right. Amen. Amen. And I came across the verse that highlights that. 1 John 1:5. I'm going to read in the Amplified version. This is the message of God's promised revelation, which we have heard from him and now announce to you, that God is light. He is holy. His message is truthful. He is perfect in righteousness. And in him there is no darkness at all, no sin, no wickedness, no imperfection. Lady Tamika.
I would say that when we think about just mankind from the very beginning, there's always been signs, there's always been the man's heart, mentality, even before an act has been created. And then the sad part about it is, in the midst of what's been done, you act as though God can't see you. You hide your hand behind your back and I didn't do that. You think about, we couldn't even get out of Genesis before Cain killed Abel, and then after God said, where is he? Am I my brother's keeper? You were always your brother's keeper. But because of your mentality, before even the act was committed, your mentality, the things that you had in your mind, your heart, I'm going to give God something. Well, this is what I'll just give God something, not realizing that God saw the whole entire thing. And if you think God didn't know that your heart was that bad that you would kill your brother, you're sadly deceived. And the sad part about it, like you said, it was blazing. It was done right in the open. You killed your brother. You did this act. You attacked this woman, not once, but you've attacked 2 women already. And then it's like, oh, well, I fell, and all of this extra stuff, foolishness, as if we don't know, as if God doesn't know what you're doing.
Absolutely. I came across another one I would like to highlight really quickly. Revelation 1:16, again, reading in the Amplified version. In his right hand he held 7 stars, and from his mouth came a sharp 2-edged sword of judgment, and his face, reflecting his majesty and the Shekinah glory, was like the sun shining in all its power at midday. And I just want to give a disclaimer that does not mean that God is the sun and you should be worshiping the literal sun, because there's people who do that. And as I was reading it, I felt the Holy Spirit was like, you need to make sure you make this distinction and don't say certain things, because there are people who literally do that, aka astrologers and people who may not label themselves as astrologers. So God is not the sun. He made the sun to rule the day. He made the moon to rule at night. You can read that in Genesis 1, read the creation of the world, like when God created the world. But it's given an association to his likeness as far as light, his brightness. That's what they're making a similarity to. So just had to make sure I gave that disclaimer. So again, as you both reiterated, why have we gotten, what has the enemy been feeding us that helps us feel like we can be bold enough? Because, there is a time when you don't realize, as Pastor Kale said, that God sees you all the time. There's a time you don't really grasp that concept. You haven't really meditated on it. It hasn't really manifested in your mind. And then when you get to the point where you realize, just as if another human was in that room looking, we don't see God, but he sees everything that we do. I was watching something and someone said, God is my first audience member. And ever since I heard that, I was like, oh yeah. So when I'm in here and I'm cussing, but I'm by myself, and I'm in here and I do such and such, whether it's by myself or with someone else, God sees everything. What has the enemy been feeding us that has given us this fake courage? Because none of us is about that life where we can handle God's wrath. Okay? But this fake courage that he helps us to develop, that has me saying, I'm going to just do this right in God's face. Lady Tamika.
I think it's each time that we don't give God access, we open up ourselves to the enemy coming in at any time. You give God, if you don't give God access, you don't give the enemy access, one way or another, whether it's in your deeds, whether it's in your actions, whether it's in your thoughts, and the building of the thought and the massaging of that idea. Mm-hmm. Because you said no to God and you let this thought go in, you massaged it, you might have put it down, put it back, you're looking at it, you start, starting to fantasize. Let me just look at it for a little bit. Let me smell it. It don't smell so bad. Let me taste it. Ooh, that's good. And before you know it, you're not just sipped it, you all the way in it. And you are in it, and you've gotten to the point after sipping it and tasting it and smelling it that you jump foot in. It's kind of like jumping off. Once you jump off or into that, you can't just get out, because right. Now you're immersed in it. It's in your skin, it's in your pores, it's in your body. And the further away you get, and each time you give the enemy access, you come farther and farther away from God. And when you look, you're like, oh. Or sometimes, unfortunately, you get to that point where you're no longer looking back. You're good. You're comfortable. Mm-hmm. And it's not until something happens to shake you and wake you up, whether it hits you in the head, whether you're injured physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, and of course, first of all, it's hit spiritually. But because you're so busy looking at the physical, you didn't even realize all of the trauma that was done to your spiritual. Now you're all the way in, and that's how we get to where we are.
Yes, I love that breakdown. Thank you. Pastor KL, what has the enemy been feeding us that helps us think we really about that life, as they say in the streets, to really be this bold in front of God?
Sin will impair your mind. Sin. And sin feels good. Come on, we're not all that deep in God right now. That we can't admit that sin feels good. Mm-hmm. Sin feels so good that they highlight sin, where they say, hey, don't drink and drive. They don't say don't drink. Just don't do that and drive. You know what I mean? It's okay to do certain things, but don't do it this. Why? Because you might get caught. You might get busted. You know, go ahead and drink. Get drunk if you want to. Just or how many times the drunken man tells you now he doesn't know anything about God now, but he'll tell you, you know, it's not a sin to drink. Even Jesus had wine. So he'll pretend like all of this is okay. You know, you can have sex. You can have every sin feels good. Does not mean it's good for you. And the enemy will make you believe that the candy store is always open. Come on, just get one more. Get the crackhead keeps going back for the same high that he never gets because the first sin was so good. It was so good. Now I know that Jesus will make me feel a whole lot better, but this high that I've encountered, I need that just one more time.
Right.
Just listen. Let's really be grown now. Just let me put the head in. We don't have to have full sex. We don't have to have that. It's the sin. The sin will take you there. It will take you there. You know, and as long as we allow the enemy to say, "Hey, it's just a little lie. You ain't kill nobody. You ain't been to jail. Ain't nobody got hurt behind this. Then why we need God? We ain't hurting nobody."
I love that breakdown as well, especially with it's just a little sin and there's no little of it. You're either obedient or you're either sinning. You're either for God or you're either for the devil. He says when you try to play us both, you for me at 9, but at 9:01, you for him, I'm going to vomit you out. And every time I think of that verse or read that verse, I think about when I throw up. And I'm like, oh, this is how you want to do me when I try to straddle the fence, when I try to play the field. And it's so easy, again, to do that because you already try to rationalize to yourself. Before you even introduce the enemy's tactics, your flesh is already trying to justify the sin you thinking of committing, rationalize it, or like, and you show the enemy that you're considering this. So his job is to further influence you to get you to actually put it into action. Before we have to deal with him, we have to deal with ourselves first. We're our own enemy first. His job is to just heavily play on what we show. And now he knows which tactics to use because he done studied the fact that you keep he's like, okay, listen, you tap dance all over this. We might as well just do this. You keep slapping him. You might as well just take that board and knock his head off and cause brain injury and kill him. How many times you just gonna slap him? Like, come on, let's just get this over with. That's his job. That's what he does. And because we are not allowing ourselves to be all up in God, we fall for the banana tailpipe. We fall for the opioid. We say, you know what? I might as well just go ahead and do it. Especially if it's only gonna be one time and everything, like Pastor KL described. So to close out, guys, because I really love those breakdowns. I think those breakdowns are really good for people to really analyze the choices and decisions that they're making. Give what you think is outside of the obvious, but the best tactic against thinking I can be this bold in front of God is what, Lady Tanika?
I'm sorry, say that one more time, please.
Like the best thing I can do that will remind me that I'm really not this bold, or I shouldn't think I'm bold enough to continue to do these things right in God's face. What do I need to be doing more of?
Prayerful, seeking the Father in all of your movements. And don't think that you're so perfect that you're always doing the right thing on your own. I was thinking about what Pastor KL said, and just the whole mentality. Think, the enemy is cunning and crafty, and he's always got these little digs that make you think as a human being, I don't need God, I'm good, and I'm gonna sit on what he talked about, sex. There's nothing wrong with sex in the confines of a marriage. That's one way to allow you to communicate and get better. But what the enemy does, there's something on television, there are things on the radio, there's the music that we hear today. Oh my gosh, like the lyrics. Like I can't play this in front of my child, but it's out there all day long telling you what you can do and where you can put it and how you can blah blah blah. And yes, it's a good feeling. However, it's not meant for that type of thing. And then what ends up happening is like, oh well, it's kind of like I can do it too, Punchinella. I can do it too. And what end up happening is you get attached with physical things. Now all of a sudden you can't, she or he turns you out. You can't even function because that's all you're thinking about. But there's no connection of the heart. The physical body has been connected, and now you got all this other stuff that you got to be loosed of in order to function correctly. Look at somebody in this man's world that we're talking about. Because I'm staying on the story as well, staying in the topic. Somebody in this mindset, he has either somebody turned him out. Now he's looking at every woman, including a woman completely clothed, in her garb, ripping at her clothes. Oh, it was a misunderstanding the first time. Her clothes, her pants kind of fell off. The mentality of that you can do it or get away with it. The enemy probably whispered, oh, you can do this. You did it the first time. It's okay. What's the harm that's going to be? You went to jail for a little time. No big problem. Get on out there and get back in it. It feels good. Open up the door. And you serve time. Wouldn't you want to go and try and live the right way? Brazen, out in the open for anybody to see. It behooves us to seek God in all of our thoughts. Before you do the deed, our thoughts he'll direct us. No, baby, don't do that. And everything that we do, everywhere we go, people forget we take God with us. When he was out there, out in the open, he took God with him, and God prevailed on her behalf with a stranger, interceding on her behalf. So seek God in thought, deed, and action, and watch him work.
Amen. Thank you. Pastor KL, what's a practical tactic? Because again, wisdom is the practical application of God's word to our everyday life. What's a practical tactic that we can use that will remind us, I'm not bold enough, God, to keep doing this in your face?
Well, Lady Tamika, she said a mouthful, but lead not into temptation. Lead not into temptation. Lead not into temptation, but deliver us from all evil. The problem is that we don't want to be delivered because after the deliverance, there's an accountability. And we don't want the accountability. As long as I'm caught in my stuff, God knows my heart. And they run with that. I often say that the enemy is never going to tempt you with something you don't desire. He knows what you like. He knows your weaknesses. We have to come up from among them and be separated. We have to separate ourselves from these things that's tearing us down. And what's tearing you down. You know what crack is. You know crack is not good. You know what alcohol is. You know alcohol is not good. There is a warning sign on everything. Smoking cigarettes can cause cancer. We've been living with warning signs on everything we do that's pertaining to sin. there's always a description and a warning that if we continue to do this, then this may happen to you. Now, if you continue to sin, God is not going to be with you. Choose ye this day who you will serve. That is the warning sign. So we have to be in a place where we have to say, listen, we often laugh at the slogans, at the t-shirts. What would Jesus do? What would Jesus do to me? What would he do for me? What would he do in me if I continue to do all this other stuff? And if it's not positive, then we need to stay away from it.
Woo! Powerful. And again, very practical. Thank you, Do Time Crew, for being on with us this morning and giving those thought-provoking tips as to how to, be on point. But again, reminding the viewers that, and reminding ourselves as well, because, we're hearing ourselves, we're speaking from the Holy Spirit, but reminding that this ain't, algebra. It's nothing difficult. These are just practical things. And if we stay before God about what we need help with, he will help us. Be very practical in being obedient. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us this morning and praying you have a blessed, safe, peaceful day.
You guys as well. Sin free. Yes,
sin free, right.
No and sin no more.
Yes, sin free and sin no more. Amen, amen. Oh, definitely giving God thanks for his Holy Spirit, because a lot of times it's like, okay, we have the news content, but what are we going to talk about? And God gonna give you something to do, and he's gonna give you how to do it, when to do it, for the reason to do it. Thanking God for his thoughts becoming our thoughts. And as Lady Tamika and Pastor K.O. was speaking, I was like, okay, God, please show me how I've been saying to you in my obedience that I don't care what you told me to do. I don't feel like doing that right now. Or I don't want to do that right now. I'm going to do this. And he probably sitting up there looking like, oh yeah? You not? Okay. And I'm just not about that life. I'm not about the little consequences God has held me up to. I was almost rolling down a river with Ike. It's just like, I can't handle this, God. Or if it looks like a consequence is coming. So why play with God? Why play with God? Those of us who, and this is why God's word says, I'm coming to you first, meaning his people. When he decides it's time to wrap this world up, he's coming to judge us, his people, first. And he was like, if this is how I'm dealing with you, how you think I'm going to deal with the people that just straight out rejecting me? But we're rejecting God too if we're not obedient. Even with the smallest thing. Don't go there. Don't pick that up. So we're even talking about the things that seem bigger, because they're all on the same level to God. All on the same level to God. If God says don't pick up that piece of paper versus if God says don't mess with that man, either way, he's giving you advice that you need for you. If you're disobedient, either way you're disobedient. If you pick up that paper when he said not to, then you mess with that man he said not to. It's the same thing. We make things gradual. We try to rate the sin. It's the same thing. And I really pray that we really grab hold of that concept and we really focus on the fact that we give God our behind to kiss a whole lot. Anytime we choose to be disobedient, I just read in the Switch Tip this past Monday that when you know what to do but do not do it, it is a sin. Another version says when you know not to do it, do not do it, you are evil. That is evil. That is evil. That is evil. So you want to be considered evil? You think, oh, because I'm baptized, I'm good. But if we can't follow simple instruction, and a lot of times, I know for me, I be putting too much on it. God has told me to do something that is very simplistic, something that I do all the time. And we're very ignorant because it could be something we do until God says it and now we don't want to do it. It's like, wait, this is something he's been telling me to do anyway. But I put too much thought into it. Oh, okay, well, God said do it, so maybe I should do it like this. And no, it's just get it done unless he gave you the specifics, and God will give the specifics. There are things that God has given me, and he's like, don't just do it like this. But things when he's like, and it doesn't mean that I can't go back to him and be creative and all of that. But if that creativity, if whatever I'm putting too much on it is now making me disobedient to the point where I'm not moving and he needs me to move, I'm evil. That's wicked. I'm sinning. And there's no nice way to put it. It is what it is. I keep telling God, please don't continue not to mince any words with me. Please nitpick with me. If you snagging me on every little thing is what's going to help me make it into the kingdom, then by all means, get on my nerves. Keep coming at me. And I can say that to God because God knows that is a genuine request. I ain't saying like, oh. And yeah, there's times I say to God, like, that too? You snagging me on that too? And at the same time, it's like, all right, I got to pay attention. It's no different than when it's your earthly parents. No different than when it's your earthly parents. My mother, at their time, she snags me on everything. Like, what's this lady doing? For a second. Like, stop it. Stop talking. And I have to realize that's God talking through her. That's counsel. All good and perfect things come from God. So if she's giving me sound counsel, if she's giving me good advice, if she's correcting me, that's coming from God. So I would really be telling God, shut up, stop talking to me. Yeah, keep that up and see how that works for you. See how that works for you. When we don't do things when God says how he says for the reason he says, we're telling God, I'm not trying to hear from you. What I know is best, what I'm going to do, what I'm not going to do, what I'm going to say, what I'm not going to say is best. I'm good off of your counsel. Doesn't sound all that good, right? To hear that you're evil whenever you know to do something. I keep having someone tell me, I know. And I'm like, you know, but you ain't moving. So what? You telling God you know, but you're intentionally not moving? How does that work? How many times you want to say I know before you get tired of saying it? Like, you're not tired of hearing yourself say you know, but not do? I'm tired of it. I'm on the outside. I don't want to hear you know. You don't know nothing. If you knew, you'd be moving. You know enough to get started. But you don't really know. Because if you really understood what your words are saying right now, what your lack of moving is. So we have to make sure that we are staying on point and staying respectful to God. And the top way to be respectful to God is to be obedient to God. You have been watching It's Due Time with Pastor Steph. Make sure you tune in with us every Monday through Friday morning, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on a Closer Media Walk Network YouTube channel, right here on Coach for Christian Life Facebook page, live every single morning. If for whatever morning you miss us, you can always go back and hit that replay button. You will catch us. You can also find us on all streaming platforms on Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, I believe. You can find us there as well. Thanking God for all of our faithful, loyal, new viewers, faithful, loyal, new listeners. Thanking God for his content and his conversation today. And praying that we do not ignore what he is pointing out to us, because that is one of the worst things that we can do, is ignore the help. Push past the protection and ignore the help from God. Worst things that we can do. Okay? Making sure that we focus on things that are above, not on things that are here on the earth, because they definitely only serve as a distraction. Do not forget to contact Pastor Steph on Facebook. Leave your comment here. that if you would like to, Pastor Steph is signing off. Yes, thank you so much, Pastor Steph, for entrusting me. Thank God for entrusting me for being with you guys this morning. Make sure you contact Pastor Steph on Facebook. Let her know you miss her. Let her know that you would like to sign up to receive one of your awareness t-shirts. Again, we're covering abstinence awareness, bullying awareness, social media health awareness, cancer awareness, insecurity awareness. There's so many, sickle cell awareness, suicide awareness, so many different awarenesses that God is making sure we acknowledge and bring attention to. So make sure you contact her and let her know. We've already been starting to get people registering for the conference. So we're super excited. Make sure you tune in tomorrow where it's Freestyle Friday, where Pastor Steph will be bringing us the latest and most interesting celebrity news and content. And she will be on with the Due Time Men as of tomorrow, God spares. Until then, have a safe, blessed day. I love you.